Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newest edition of Dale Center NASCAR betting here on YouTube. Thank you for coming back here as we hit Kansas Speedway for the Hollywood Casino 400 for the, well, if that's for the Cup Series, you get Xfinity action as well on Saturday afternoon. Wish it was a triple header. I can't believe trucks. This is such a great racetrack. I don't know why we don't have triple headers at least one time out of the year. Like in the spring race, you get Cup and trucks, no Xfinity. And then down in the race weekend we have coming up, you only get Cup and Xfinity. Trucks would be nice too. So, 2 races this weekend to bet on. 3 events total if you want to include qualifying. I'll pass. But I will give some leans for qualifying. 4 bets. 4 bets for qualifying. I'll just go ahead and tell them right now. I think, didn't I hit, was that last weekend at New Hampshire that I correctly picked the qualifying winner? Joey Logano. 7-1. A lot of people in the Discord got him at 10-1. I didn't bet it myself because I'm a loser at qualifying bets. Seems like when I just give them out as advice and I don't bet on myself, they win. So let's do that again. Michael McDowell for the pole, Carson Hocevar for the pole, Kyle Larson, and William Byron. 4 Chevys. Don't ask me any questions. I don't care what the price is. 4 Chevys. If I were to bet, that is what I would bet for the pole. After looking at the qualifying order, looking at some trends from 2025 on the mile and a half, some sister tracks, Kansas earlier in the year. Yeah. McDowell, Hocevar, Larson, Byron. Boom. That's it. 4 guys to win the pole. Now, let's talk about Xfinity. Not a lot to talk about. If we're being honest, chat, the board is horrendous. It's fucking garbage, to put it mildly. And Xfinity has been, for all you guys that have been tailing all year long, Xfinity's been the bread and butter of our betting success, right? Up about 85 units. And I should say too, last week in New Hampshire, you had Cup and trucks. We dropped about 5 units. Not a great weekend. We hit a big max bet with Kyle Larson, lost everything else. And that's all right. Minimize the damage. So 5 units in the red between Cup and trucks last weekend. I know it's been kind of stagnant. You know, we're kind of seesawing. You know, we have a big weekend and then we kind of seesaw. Big weekend, seesaw. You know, at this point, want to keep winning, want to keep increasing our profit. But, and I think we're going to do that if we don't have disasters, right? If we don't have disasters, like we've had like 6 or 7 offers, like 0 for blank on the betting cards in 2025. If 6 or 7 of those out of 60, 70 betting cards in 2025, not that bad. Not that bad. That means we're minimizing the damage when we lose, and when we win, we're capitalizing on big profits. And that's what NASCAR betting is all about. Some people just ride a bunch of head-to-head matchups. That's not what we do here. So, I mean, it's rare. Like last week, Kyle Larson top 10, minus 170. I mean, when are you ever going to see that again, folks? Maybe on a super speedway. I mean, that's just not common to see Kyle Larson minus 170. For reference, that same top 10, Kyle Larson for Kansas, minus 500. Now, he may not be minus 500 at the Roval or Phoenix or Martinsville. When you put under minus 200, it's a must bet. It was my biggest bet of the year and my second biggest bet all time. Kyle Larson for a top 10 in New Hampshire. So I don't want to talk about New Hampshire anymore. It's kind of a boring weekend. It's kind of a boring track. Gen 7, I will say, the Cup race was not that bad. For whatever reason, New Hampshire's been kind of good in the Gen 7 era relative to the last, or the other 20 years of my existence watching New Hampshire races. So we move on, though, after Blaney gets a win. Joey Logano. Wish he would have come through, but it's all good. Let's move on. We're talking Xfinity for the... What is the race called this weekend? The Kansas Speedway 300, is that right? Oh, Kansas Lottery 300. DraftKings is censoring the names because it's casino based in the sponsor title for both races. Where are the Xfinity odds? Oh, BetMGM just took them down. We don't have qualifying today. No. It's only ARCA for Xfinity, or it's only ARCA for Kansas on Friday. I think Saturday is a one-day show for practice, qualifying, and the race, right? Let me check that schedule. I'm going to check that schedule real quick. But I'm pretty sure Xfinity practice. Yeah, Xfinity practice 9:30 a.m. Central Time, qualifying 10:35 Central Time. All right, have me nervous there because BetMGM just stripped the odds. I don't know why. Somebody must have plugged a big bet. There is not anything that I think is worth a big bet for Xfinity. Connor Zilic around 2-1, Allgaier around 3-1, and it's depressing because JRM has been unbelievable. Obviously, Zilic has been unbelievable everywhere, but on the mile and a halfs, JRM has been ridiculous between Zilic and Justin Allgaier. I think Austin Hill's going to have a good weekend. Austin Hill is on the outside looking in on the cut line with 2 races until they eliminate 4 more drivers. And we've seen it in the past, not just this year, but last year, year before. Austin Hill has been fantastic on the mile and a halfs. And I think as quiet as they've been, you know, their kryptonite has been the short tracks. They struggled real bad at Bristol. They've had some bad runs. Ever since the Indianapolis accident where he wrecked Almirola on purpose and still denies it, things have just gone downhill for that team. You know, losing their playoff points was critical. I think Austin Hill is a big sleeper this weekend. I know you're saying, well, he's 4th on the board. Can you call that a sleeper? I think you can, because when you're looking at 11-1 outright on FanDuel, he's 10-1, 11-1 range just about everywhere. I think that's worth a shot. I absolutely think that's worth a shot. If you want to dig deeper, maybe look for a max bet. Like I said, I don't think there's anything worth max betting this weekend for Kansas because I feel like it's going to be a very straight up race. It's going to be JRM versus Joe Gibbs Racing. But I think RCR is a little sneaky here. And Hard Rock Bet, Austin Hill top 5 plus 140. You don't want to sweat out post-race inspection. He's plus money on DraftKings as well, plus 110. I also kind of like Sam Mayer. You know, I talk about it's going to be JRM versus Joe Gibbs Racing. Sam Mayer he hasn't had winning speed at these tracks like they did pre-Tony Stewart leaving, and now it's just Haas Factory Team, the rebranding of the organization. Sam Mayer has had top 5 speed at many of these intermediate style racetracks in 2025. I like that he's kind of a veteran guy now. They've had some really, really good runs in the latter half of the season with that win at Iowa. Had a shot at Bristol. I know they've had some accidents. You know, he's kind of a wreckers or checkers guy. It's some of these more chaotic racetracks like Gateway, prime example of that. I think Sam Mayer is another good bet, at least for a top 5. I don't know if they're going to have winning speed. Like I said, it's kind of weird how at the mile and a halfs last year before, Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, really good. And Cole Custer dominated this race last year before getting passed by Almirola with only, 15, 20 laps to go. You have no Almirola in this race. Justin Bonsignor is in the Gibbs part-time ride, so you don't have to worry about, I mean, look, no disrespect to Justin, but you don't have Almirola. You don't have that extra Gibbs car that's going to be a threat for the win, in my opinion. It's not really a reach to say that. Now, another guy I'm thinking about is Taylor Gray. He's just so dead to me. Like, this would be the track I feel like Taylor Gray would come out, qualify up front, run top 3 all day. But can you trust them? They have been abysmal over the past 8 to 10 weeks. They've had some bad luck, for sure. Pit crew has been bad. He's been bad. Accidents, mistakes, even just performance, like running 12th on speed is crazy. While some of your other teammates, like William Sawalich, running top 5. You know, William Sawalich is sticking with the Gibbs camp. William Sawalich is arguably hotter than any driver right now in terms of just knocking off very competitive finishes. I got to see where they ran at Bristol. Now, does Bristol translate to here? Absolutely not. But I am always a believer in momentum. So you want to look at someone like William Sawalich. I think he crashed at Bristol, did he not? He finished 15th. I think he ran around the top 10 most of the day, but we know Sawalich's strengths have been on the road courses, but you kind of wonder if something clicked and this kid's kind of figured it out. He's 50 to 1, 60 to 1 range on most books. Plus 450 for a top 5 on DraftKings. To me, that's not worth betting. They haven't proven enough on these mile and a halves. Plus 575 over on Hard Rock. Two guys, him and Christian Eckes are in that category of being, until Bristol at least, both of those guys were knocking off some really good finishes, really competitive finishes. Christian Eckes could be worth a shot at 7 to 1 for a top 5. Plus 550 on DraftKings, not worth it to me. The odds are just so neutered, ladies and gentlemen, for Xfinity. Honestly, this is where having Almirola in the race helps us, because we know he's going to take a lot of, I guess you can say, market share in terms of how he's priced. He's going to be priced up there with Connor Zilisch and Justin Allgaier. He also won at Bristol, which was the last time out, so maybe he would be a co-favorite up there, and he won this race last year. So if Almirola was in this race, you could have some good value on some of these top 5 guys. I'm willing to bet someone like Eckes would be 8 to 1 on DraftKings, and Sawallich might be 6 to 1 if Almirola was in the race. But coulda, shoulda, woulda, what ifs, they don't fucking matter. The point is, the board sucks, guys. The board is terrible. I'll give you 3 drivers that I'm eyeing, though. I already talked about Austin Hill. Love his top 5. You can get plus money. I think they're going to be real strong this weekend. I think Saturday is going to be a big day for that 21 team. Top 3, I think, is a little too expensive. You're looking at 2 to 1, plus 225. I'll check Hard Rock real quick. Hard Rock for Austin Hill plus 250. To me, everything's just so overpriced. But I do like a plus money top 5 at a track type where Austin Hill is more than capable of running top 5, and I think will. You look back at this race last year, I think they ran P6 or P7. You don't have Cole Custer, who was a dominant force in the Xfinity Series. You don't have Almirola in this race, as we just talked about. There's been some changes in the Xfinity Series, and I think, who finished 3rd in that race? I was looking last night. Basically, the top 3 last year in the Xfinity race at Kansas are not in this race this year. We're going to find out. So 2024, Almirola wins the race. Gibbs has won 2 in a row. That's right. Chandler Smith finished 3rd. He actually was the guy that dominated the race, led the most laps, just kind of faded at the end. But yeah, the top 3 from last year are not in the Xfinity Series race on Saturday. So Zilisch finished 4th, Sheldon Creed finished 5th in a Gibbs car, Brandon Jones finished 6th in a JRM car, and then Austin Hill finished 7th. So I think that is worth noting. I think Austin Hill is probably the emphasis play this weekend. Am I going to bet it right now? Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm curious to see where they qualify, but I doubt with Zilisch and Allgaier, especially Zilisch, has been lights out in qualifying. He's going to qualify up front. I would be surprised if Austin Hill dropped below plus money between Hard Rock and DraftKings before green flag tomorrow afternoon. So you are taking a risk by waiting, because it's a one-day show. You get qualifying and practice 9 to 10 a.m. and the race is only 3 hours later. With college football going on, other sports, you may not get the reload that you would hope. And based on what I've seen since football's come back, you get a reload on DraftKings within an hour of the green flag. You want to go through that? Not really. So I'll give you 3 guys in terms of an outright play that I'm looking at. Brandon Jones has to be in consideration. Whether it's been with JRM or Joe Gibbs Racing, he's had some very strong moments at Kansas. He ran 6th. And with JRM, a P6 for him in that 9 car was like a fucking win. He was so bad in that car. And his best runs were at Kansas. P6 in 2024, P2 in 2023. Had a kind of mediocre year in 2020 and 2021 when he was still with Joe Gibbs Racing, but he won here twice in a row in 2019 and 2020. Brandon Jones, I feel like, is going to be a long run threat this weekend. The Gibbs cars, you can say this about Cup too, but let's just focus on Xfinity. The JGR cars in the long run have been very, very strong. We've seen it with Almirola all year long when he's been in there. We've seen it with Brandon Jones when he qualifies outside the top 10. He just kind of creeps and creeps and creeps and gets himself into a top 5 position. So outside of the Zilich, Allgaier bets, Brandon Jones sticks out to me. 2-time winner at Kansas, runs well here, and especially in JGR equipment. So let's see what he can do. Looking at his outright, I see 11-1. I see 12-1. I'll check Hard Rock. 11-1 there as well. Brandon Jones, I think, is a good play. I think Brandon Jones is a good play heading into the weekend if you want somebody for Xfinity. I already talked about Austin Hill. Third guy. Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed. I sense another P2 finish. And typically... So here's how this works with me and Sheldon Creed. Good friend of the program. We're still waiting on that Xfinity win. Fuck, it may never happen. I'm not giving up, though. I do not give up on Sheldon Creed. I think he does have the talent. Just got to put everything together. And have a little bit of luck, too. We've seen him lose races due to bad luck. All the second place finishes he's had. So here's the strategy with Sheldon Creed. My senses are telling me it's a Sheldon Creed win this weekend. So that means he's going to finish in the top 3. So what I would do, I'm not even guaranteeing that I'm going to do this because I hate the board so much. So what I would do, I'm trying to pull up BetMGM to see what they have. I would bet a little bit on his outright. Sure. Let's bet a little bit on the outright. 16-1 on FanDuel. Pretty good price. That's the best price I've seen. But bet the top 3. Top 3 for Sheldon Creed. On Hard Rock is plus 350. On DraftKings is plus 300. 3-1. Top 5 is plus 150 on DraftKings. And on Hard Rock, the top 5 is plus 195. Ooh, almost 2-1 for top 5. Yeah. Okay. You could bet that top 5. I don't know. Just stick with me here. Forget any of the data, any of the analysis. He did run 5th last year in a Gibbs car. I already talked about earlier. SHR hasn't been great. Our SHR. Haas factory team hasn't been great in 2025 on these mile and a half. Sam Mayer is just that dude and just grinds out top 5s. That's just what he does. He's super talented. But I think this type of racetrack suits Sheldon Creed, and we've seen him at some of these intermediates late in the run when you start ripping the top, which is what's going to happen at Kansas. As the run goes on, everyone's going to be running the wall. We saw it last year. Go watch the race last year. You typically see it here at Kansas in long green flag runs. We start ripping the top. I think that's a big benefit to Sheldon Creed. That is his style, and we've seen in long runs, he chips away, kind of like Brandon Jones. I think the Jones machine in JGR is going to, they typically have more speed in the long run. They typically have more versatility, running the bottom, middle, top. But don't sleep on Sheldon Creed this weekend. 16-1 outright. Remember, Stewart Haas Racing was really good here last year, has been good here in prior years. Obviously, different drivers. Seems like a slightly different organization. When Tony pulled out, the team has been a little weird. Only one win in 2025 for the Ford camp. Just keep an eye out for Sheldon Creed. 16-1, very low risk bet. And then take the top 5 plus 195. He's just so risky, man. They have so many DNFs, so many random issues. That's the luck factor. Maybe I'd rather just go in for a unit and a half on the top 3. Maybe. That could be worth waiting after qualifying, at least for the top 3, top 5. I think even if he qualifies well, you're going to get plus money on both of those. So if he qualifies well, you're going to want to be on the outright at 16-1 in case he drops to like 10-1, 11-1 range. Get a little bit of CLV there, and then wait on the top 3, top 5. But forget the analysis. When my Sheldon Creed senses start ringing like this, and I think he's going to win, he's going to finish in the top 3. Throw all the stats out, rip them up, burn them, light them on fire. Just go with the mantra here. When I think Sheldon Creed's going to win, he fucking finishes 2nd or 3rd. And I'll leave it at that. So 3 guys that I like, 4 options. Austin Hill, Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed in terms of outrights. Loving Austin Hill top 5 before we hit track time on Saturday morning. And Sam Mayer's kind of on that radar too for a top 5. I think is outright, considering that they haven't been super close at these racetracks in 2025. 9-1, 10-1 range. Not sure yet if I'll pull the trigger on that, but I do kind of like a plus money top 5 on that. The board is just so bad that it feels like you're just risking way too much if you wanted to bet a top 5 on him and Austin Hill. If they both don't get a top 5, it feels like a loser, or it feels like a push at best. So that's what concerns me there. But those are the 4 guys I like. I'm not really looking at any. I mean, I talked about Sawalich for a little while. I think his top 5 is too expensive, considering they haven't done enough at this track type in 2025. And then Christian Eckes has had his moments. Colleague Racing, just very, very hit or miss at these track types in 2025. Somebody brought up a point in the Discord. I'm looking at a top 5 line. I said I'm not big on the underdogs, and I'm really not. But Dean Thompson on Hard Rock is 100-1 for a top 5. I mean, one thing we can say about Kansas is pretty well known for some crazy, crazy accidents. You could get one wild wreck and maybe take out some of the top middle tier guys. So Dean Thompson, he's got one top 5 this year. It was on a 1.5 miles. It was at Charlotte. And he's had a bunch of near top 10s. The guy constantly runs around the top 10. Bunch of top 15s this year, a lot of top 20s. I think Dean Thompson, for how he performed in trucks, not great. In very good equipment, to jump up in Xfinity, I think he's had a pretty good year. I think he has definitely surpassed my expectations of running well in a Sam Hunt racing machine. So maybe, once again, you get a catastrophe type of wreck, take out some of the front runners, mid-pack guys. Dean Thompson, who floats around the top 10, 100-1 for a top 5? That's worth a shot in my mind. Other than that, this is my point here. Like, he's priced right with Garrett Smithley, Josh Williams, Mason Massey, Kyle Sieg, Blaine Perkins, Nick Lights, Leland Honeyman. I've been high on Leland Honeyman in some races this year, not this week, but Glenn Reen, Joey Gase. I mean, guys that are gonna fucking start and park potentially, get lapped 6 times. He's in the same price range as those guys. That is value. The guy runs around the top 15, top 10 almost every week. One wreck, he's right in contention for a top 5 at 100-1, folks. That's worth an option. Someone in the Discord pointed it out that it was 70-1 for a top 5. That's on DraftKings. That's fine too. Shit, if you can't use Hard Rock, 70-1. I mean, I'm probably gonna take a sprinkle on that before tomorrow. So if there's an underdog play, that's the one. Dean Thompson for a top 5. His one top 5 in 2025 was on a 1.5 miles at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And he needed some chaos to get it done. And Kansas has not been short of chaos in Cup, Xfinity, or trucks over the years. So recap one more time. I know there's not a lot of meat and potatoes here. There's not a lot of certainty of what I'm going to bet. I'm probably going to be pretty light on Xfinity this weekend because I think Justin Allgaier is going to win. But you just can't bet on this motherfucker. And I love him, but when he's a favorite, co-favorite, it's a fucking catastrophe every time you put money on him. Every time. And Kansas has not, they've come here with speed and had horrendous luck. Never won here still. No wins for Justin Allgaier. And you could say probably over the past 6 years, they've had a top 3 car or a car that was capable of winning probably 3 or 4 times. So that's like the dilemma here. So to recap, Sam Mayer, Austin Hill for top 5s on my radar. Austin Hill for an outright. Sheldon Creed for an outright and maybe a top 3 on the radar. Brandon Jones for an outright. Absolutely. Maybe we wait on the top 5 and then check out maybe Christian Eckes for a top 5 on Hard Rock if you can get 7-1 or better. And then Dean Thompson 100-1 for a top 5 is crazy. It is. I'm sorry. It's absolutely crazy. Him and Glenn Reen fucking priced together. Are you shitting me? Yeah. Moving on. That's what I got for Xfinity. I know it's not a lot. I know we're all betting on football degenerately, and I understand. Ryder Cup's going on. There's a lot of staleness in stock car racing right now because it's a lot of bad juju with viewership going down in Cup. They've let some people go this week towards the top of the totem pole. Race director, they said it's not performance based. Get the fuck out of here. What is the number one thing I've complained about? If you guys watch my live streams or keep up with me on Twitter, even Instagram and my stories, the number one thing I've complained about over the past like 4 or 5 years is caution laps. And I think the race director's got something to do with that, right? I just, maybe this is a good move. And I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure the race director has something to do with caution laps and the extension of yellows and opening pit road, etc. Maybe a good move. Another guy stepped down from NASCAR. Bad juju all around. Sorry. The show goes on. We're here to win money. We're here to keep profiting. We're up about 104 units on the year after already talked about kind of a shitty weekend at New Hampshire. It's all good. Kansas has been a pretty good track for me overall. And I love betting the Cup race at Kansas because there's so much passing. It feels like everybody's got a shot. You see comers and goers, all sorts of different drivers at some point enter the top 10, maybe enter the top 5. Upsets, Chastain last year, Buescher almost won last year as well. So Kurt Busch final win here in 2022. Tyler Reddick final, basically a white flag pass, fall 2023. I did have a bet on Reddick on that day. I think it was coming to the white flag where he passed Logano and Eric Jones 3 wide. Coming to the white flag or coming to 2 to go. So great racing, great drama, great opportunities. Lines on the bottom of your screen courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. And we'll make some parlays here at the end. But I've already got a lot on the board. Probably, arguably, way too much. And we're going to go to Hard Rock Bet. I know a lot of people are limited on Hard Rock. I hate that. I know a lot of people are limited. Some people are limited on FanDuel, BetMGM. It seems like you can be limited just about anywhere if you hit a banger or contribute to some CLV, some line movement, which is what I have realized is why my max bet on ESPN's like fucking 8 cents. So let's just start with top 10 bets. I'm all in on some top 10 guys. Probably too much, but I mean, I think there's a great possibility we could hit 3 of these. I know that sounds insane when you hear the prices and you hear the drivers, but bear with me here. John Hunter Nemechek, 8-1 for a top 10. That line's gone forever. It was available on Hard Rock, and I know some people got it. It's now plus 475 on Hard Rock, 5-1 on FanDuel. I'm not so interested in betting him below 7-1. Same with Zane Smith. That line's still 8-1 for a top 10. 38 car has had speed all year long. They just have to not make mistakes. And this is the track type where Zane's going to shine. He ran top 10 here last year with Spire after a horrendous rookie campaign. This is kind of when they started figuring it out a little bit. And the amount of times this year on 1.5-mile type of racetracks where they've been top 10 on speed and then just fucked up and had some type of issue, and they still, it seems like every time they still come back and run top 15. Like on long green flag runs, Zane Smith is extremely effective in navigating traffic. It is underrated. I wonder if Auto Racing Analytics has a number on that. But that 38 team, man, they've got good cars. And Zane Smith is a good driver. They just have to not fuck up on pit road. Their pit road is their pit crew has been so bad in 2025, they might be dead last. Zane Smith has even made mistakes on pit road. He has not been effective in minimizing errors on his end. But I think there's been enough time in the season where they can come here to Kansas in a playoff race late in the year where they have run well before. Front rows run well here before too, by the way, pre-Zane Smith. They can come out here and if they don't fuck up, they're going to be a top 10 car. Mark my words. They are going to be a top 10 car. And I feel the same way about John Hunter Nemechek. I know you're watching this now. If you don't subscribe to dubclub.win and see the bets when they drop with the specific unit allocations, you've missed out on John Hunter Nemechek for a top 10. Now, He goes out really early in qualifying because he crashed last week at New Hampshire. So he could qualify very shitty, which would be good. You could get a rise in that line. So don't bet it yet. He goes out super early in the qualifying session, way too early to put down a good lap, I think. So if he qualifies 25th or worse, you're going to get better than 5-1 for a top 10, I think. So at this point, might as well pause. But John Hunter Nemechek has had an amazing second half of the year. Yeah, you've got some wrecks sprinkled in, but relevant racetracks. I'm just going to go through high-speed racetracks, whether it's a mile and a half, whether it's a 2 mile like Pocono or Indianapolis. John Hunter Nemechek has been very, very competitive. And I'm just going to scroll through here and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So obviously bad start to the year. He's 26th in points at the moment. But Darlington, P4. That's not a mile and a half, but it is semi-relevant because it's a higher speed, bigger racetrack. Let's just simplify that. Worldwide Technology Raceway, P6. Got to have speed to be good there. I know it's kind of a big New Hampshire with heavy braking, but you got to have a fast car. P6 there. Indianapolis, P12. Teammate Eric Jones ran top 10 a lot of the day. Got screwed late in the race, I think, on pit road. Keep going. Pocono, P6. John Hunter Nemechek. Michigan, they crashed. Nashville, not good. Charlotte, they were very good, and then he got into the wall. If you watch that race over, Nemechek was running top 10, borderline top 5 in that race, and then he made a mistake. I think he got the wall, beat the wall down, ends up finishing 27th, but for sure had top 10 speed. Kansas, P10. Texas, P8. I mean, this dude on the mile and a halves, higher speed racetracks, regardless of the grip level, regardless of the tire construction, regardless of the wear of the track. What am I trying to say here? The grip level, the whether it's high wear, medium wear, light wear, he's been on it on these mile and a halves, on these higher speed racetracks. And in the second half of the season, especially, man, these guys have been fucking fast between him and Eric Jones. So don't sleep on Eric Jones either. Finished third here in 2023. Has had some good runs at Kansas. Wrecked here last year. I think he finished in the top 15 here in the spring race. The point is, Legacy Motor Club is just miles ahead of where they were in 2024. I feel like I've said that a million times on Dale Center. I've said it on Sirius XM. But they have speed, and they don't have a Gibbs alliance. So I mean, we've seen them outrun the Gibbs cars. We saw it basically at Darlington, outside of Chase Briscoe. They've outrun multiple Joe Gibbs racing cars at these particular racetracks. Eric Jones, these racetracks that it's talked about. Charlotte finished 13th. Nashville finished 7th. Michigan finished 11th. Indianapolis qualified 3rd. Probably had a top 10 car. Finished 36th. He was involved in an accident, I believe. Darlington, Eric Jones is fantastic. They ran 3rd. So on some of these mile and a halves, higher speed racetracks, Eric Jones has been right there, man. He's been right there. They, kind of like Zane Smith, have just made a lot of mistakes. Bad on pit road, bad strategy, while Nemechek's kryptonite has just been crashing. So all three of those guys, 8-1, 7-1 or better, are worth a top 10 bet. And I got all three of them at 8-1. And then Michael McDowell, 11-1. Michael McDowell in a Spire car has had I couldn't believe this, but I was looking, you know, the Winston Cup guy that posts like what the point standings would be if it was a Winston Cup era. Like, I get it. I think it's kind of like people who take it seriously, maybe kind of lame. I like it as a fun hypothetical, but with all the bad news in NASCAR, maybe they've noticed it because the points battle is really close. But I looked at that chart, and under the Winston Cup standings, which is just based on where you finish in every race, if you lead a lap, bonus points, etc., they're like 17th. They got a top 10 in New Hampshire last week. They've been hot and cold at this particular track type, but I saw 11-1 on FanDuel, and I was like, yeah, I have to bet that. Now that price has been slashed, and I told you he's an underdog bet for the poll, so That line on FanDuel now is 8-1. I think 8-1 is worth it. I think 8-1 is worth it. I think they've got a good shot to qualify well, and that top 10 could be 4-1. It's already, listen to this, 8-1 on FanDuel. That top 10 line for Michael McDowell plus 275 on DraftKings. Hard Rock plus 450. It's been like that all week on Hard Rock. Weird. There's some big discrepancy there with Michael McDowell for a top 10. I'm just going to check on Canby, see if they have top 10s. See what their price is, just to kind of keep giving you that idea. McDowell for a top 10 on Canby, plus 450. Big discrepancy there, 8-1. If you can get it, still worth it in my mind. I think they're going to qualify well. And this is a track type that Michael McDowell has grinded out some good top 15s, good top 10s. I know he ran top 10 at the Coke 600 earlier this year, but let's dive into it and just get a more accurate read. If I can find his name. There it is. 25th in points, but under the Winston Cup, 17th. We haven't had a mile and a half in a while. They struggled at Indy, ran 30th. 35th at Pocono, I think they were wrecked. Michigan 30th. Nashville 21st. Charlotte ran P7. Kansas earlier in the year ran 23rd. They weren't great. Texas, remember he was leading, battling Logano for the lead. He was going to get a top 10 there. Crashed himself, finished P26. So there's not a lot of, honestly, the stats are not great. 16th at Vegas after qualifying on the pole. 20th at Homestead. I think 8-1 is still worth it because I am a big believer that Spire is going to come here with speed this weekend. And I'm big on Carson Hocevar, his teammate. So with that mindset on Hocevar, I'm kind of thinking, all right, if Hocevar is going to be fast, maybe Mike Mack will have something too. So we bet both of them. Mike Mack, they've had a plethora of gremlins, wrecks, and just sometimes they have unloaded with not very good race cars. But I feel like on the mile and a halves, where Hocevar has been really good, they can at least run top 10. 8-1 is worth a shot. You got 4 top 10 bets right there. I think if you look at track history with Michael McDowell, you might get a different story here at Kansas, which I'm going to look right now. The issue is you're going to say, well, he wasn't with Spire. He was with Front Row. Let's see, previous to this track. Ran 10th here in spring of 2024. Did not run well here in 2023. Spring of 2023. Did not run well here. So he's kind of back and forth. Honestly, I feel like he ran 16th. I'm depleting my Michael McDowell top 10 bet case. I'm looking at the stats in detail. Not good. Not good. You know what, man? Fuck it. I've already bet it. No, we're gonna here. You know what? I'm determined. I am determined now to find something that tells me this is a good bet outside of what I've already said. I'm gonna find something. So in 2025, I went over kind of the. He's got two top 5s on the road courses, 1 top 10 on an intermediate at Charlotte. Where's his other? It said he had 4 top. Oh, Loudon last week. Okay, momentum. Let's go with momentum. Let's go with momentum. You know what? I totally get now if you don't want to bet McDowell at 8-1. I honestly, I still would. I got it 11-1. That's a decent difference, but I feel like they're going to be good. And I think the prime reason I feel that way is because I think Hocevar is going to be good. I think their team cars are going to be solid. Justin Haley's been pretty bad just about everywhere. But Michael McDowell has had good speed at times this year, and they've just fucked it all up with crashes, gremlins, mistakes, etc. So I feel like I convinced myself to not bet Michael McDowell, even though I already bet him. That's Dale Center. That's where the experts get involved and take over. And that's what you're looking at here. Let's go with some other bets. So recapping what I have already bet. 4 top 10 lines on Nemechek, Jones, Zane Smith, Michael McDowell. Top 5. William Byron plus money to me is probably the best bet of the weekend. It's minus 115 on DraftKings. Now down to minus 110 on FanDuel. Still even money on BetMGM. Plus 130 at Canby and plus 125 on Hard Rock. So you've got plus money on the board. This to me is a 3-unit bet. I've already hit it. You get plus money before the weekend. I think he's a threat to win the poll. They have had legitimate speed at this track almost every single time they've come here in the Gen 7 era. And if there's a place least likely for William Byron to lay an egg, it's at 1.5 miles. We've seen it all year long. Earlier this year at Kansas, they had a loose wheel and had a pit when they were running second, and they were running down Kyle Larson, actually. They may have been better than the 5 car. We won't ever know for sure because he had that issue. But I think William Byron, who finished second in this race last year to Ross Chastain, is a fantastic bet for a top 5 at even money or better. Outright, he's still sitting at 7-1 on several books. I hit that as well. 7-1 is absolutely worth it if you think he's going to come out here and qualify well, which I do. He's 8-1 actually over on Canby to win the race now. Hard Rock checking there, still 7-1. So 7-1's fine. Just don't ask questions. William Byron's going to be a factor this weekend. Love that they got a top 5 at a track that they've always sucked at. Hated it at the time because I had some top Chevy bets on his teammates, but love the momentum. Love what they do at 1.5 miles. This has been one of their best track types in the Gen 7 era. William Byron, top 5, lock of the universe. Absolutely. And we'll take the outright as well at 7-1. I also went ahead and took Carson Hocevar plus 650 for a top 5 over on Hard Rock. That line is still available at Hard Rock Bet. I think Hocevar is going to be a top 5 guy all day long. You know, they ran basically top 10 around the top 5 a lot in this race last year. Had an issue on pit road and a green flag pit stop. Then they got wrecked when they were deep in the field. Clean up the mistakes. Don't make any critical errors. And he's going to be a top 5 guy. Plus 650. I mean, look at what he's done in the 1.5 miles in 2025. Michigan, leading, runs out of fuel. Nashville runs second. Charlotte blows up while going for the lead. They kind of missed it at Kansas earlier this year, but we've seen a lot of discrepancy between the spring race and the fall race in terms of who leads laps, who runs up front. Not with everybody, but with some drivers. I mean, you've got a difference in temperature. You've got different conditions. So I love Carson Hocevar. I watched this race back from last year. They were competitive. That was his rookie year. They're a lot better. He's a lot better in 2025 than he was in 2024. And I think he's a slam dunk bet for a top 5 at 6-1 or better. Even 5-1, I would think about it. Even 5-1 or better, I would think about it. I think they're going to have legitimate winning speed. And this could be the weekend. Carson Hocevar gets that first win. Remember, he won the truck race earlier this year. I know it's not a cup car. By the way, that was a great fucking race between him and Lane Riggs. But he did win here in trucks earlier in 2025. Got to have some confidence. There's got to be a lot of confidence heading into this weekend to play spoiler and get that first win. 35-1 is out there as well, outright. I'm all over it. I see 35-1 right now over on DraftKings, 30-1 on FanDuel, 30-1 on BetMGM. Take the 35-1 on DraftKings. 35-1 also available on Canby, and I believe Hard Rock as well. Nope, 30-1 there. So you got 35-1 on multiple books. Take that. He's worth it. I think Carson Hocevar, big threat to spoil the playoff grid this weekend at Kansas, like Chastain did in this race 1 year ago. A few flyer bets here. RFK, man. This is so odd to me. Brad Keselowski every now and then just comes up and has winning speed, and somehow they don't win. They make a lot of mistakes. He makes a lot of mistakes. Sometimes he's a wrecking ball. He's in the washed category, maybe. Could have won Bristol a few weeks ago, but you know, I think back to Charlotte when they ran 28th all day in the Coke 600. They pop up at the end and get a top 5. I think about Kansas earlier this year. They're literally going for the lead. I think they had taken the lead or were chasing down the leader they blow a tire, finish 35th or 36th. Brad Keselowski, I'm ranking on the RFK guys here. Brad Keselowski just comes out and glimpses, and boom, he's got winning speed, and you're like, oh shit. I think we saw it at Iowa a few weeks ago too. But relevant track types, Kansas has been a pretty good track for him overall, not just in the Gen 7 era, but prior to that in Gen 6 as well. I went ahead and took a flyer at Brad Keselowski because every now and then they just come out with winning speed, and you never know when they're finally going to get a few breaks go their way. So 30 to 1, 35 to 1 range is fine. I see 28 to 1 on DraftKings, 27 to 1 on FanDuel. That line's been hammered down a little bit. I got 35 to 1 on BetMGM for a small bet. 30 to 1 is available on Hard Rock, so I'd bet 28 to 1. I think that's fine. It's still a low risk bet, just the outright. I don't want to take his top 5 just because of how risky he is. Like I said, every now and then they just come out and they have winning speed. Whether or not they can capitalize, it's a fucking spin of the wheel if they can't. Chris Buescher, so mediocre at times, man. They just run 15th on speed at tracks that they have performed at in the Gen 7 era. And then every now and then they get a top Ford running in the top 5. I took him from an outright, or for an outright as well. Same price range as Brad Keselowski. You're looking at 30 to 1 range. I got 30 to 1. I see 25 to 1, 28 to 1, 30 to 1 is available on Hard Rock and Canby. If you want to bet 27 to 1, that's fine too, because I think back to a track like Michigan where they arguably had the best car. Michigan, decent comparison track to Kansas. And they've had other good runs at some of these medium, higher wear, intermediate tracks like Homestead. But a lot of times they just lay an egg. But they get finishes. Like I talked about Brad, they fuck up with winning speed. Chris Buescher, they just lay eggs, but when they lay eggs, they finish 12th to 15th all the time, it seems like. But I think back to how good they've been at Michigan over the past few years. They've been good at Kansas before, almost won here spring of 2024. I'll take an outright bet. Once again, not taking a top 5, top 3, anything like that at this point. Let's just take the outright as a sprinkle in case RFK unloads with legitimate speed. And then Ryan Preece, man, I haven't bet this. I'm not sure if I will, but I just stare at his top 10 price every week when they give us plus 250, plus 260. I've talked about Buescher and Brad. Preece is the best at getting good finishes at a variety of different racetracks. But on the 1.5 miles in particular, they have been so good. They qualified terribly. They race to the front, and by the end of it, they're running 8th. That's what they do almost every single 1.5 miles. I mean, Indy, I think they got a top 5, and they've kind of snuck up at a few other tracks like Iowa with a top 5 there. Just depends. But man, Preece in 2025 has been the most complete RFK driver, because when they qualify bad, they get to the front. You look up, they're top 10, running 8th, running 7th. So Preece top 10 plus 250. I don't hate that line. They just haven't had winning speed in that 60 car. So the difference between the 17 and the 6, who both have winning speed, but they fuck up or lay eggs, Preece is right in between them on speed, but gets the finishes. So a top 10 bet on Ryan Preece plus 250, not bad. Books are really high on Ryan Blaney right now. He's even money for a top Ford. Preece 16 to 1 top Ford. We have seen that hit before in 2025. So lumping all three together, I think a good, let's just say you haven't bet anything yet. I've already got a lot out there, but with the books being so bullish on Ryan Blaney, Buescher 7 to 1 top Ford, Keselowski 7 plus 750 top Ford, Preece 16 to 1 top Ford. Bet all three. One of them wins. It's a big payout. I like that option for the RFK guys, and that is why I spent all this time rambling about them. But the Preece top 10 line is interesting to me. I almost bet it. I decided not to because I've got a lot out there on other guys that I think are going to run well and are better priced. And then I took the sprinkles on Buescher and Keselowski for outrights in case they just come out guns blazing, winning speed. Final two bets. I already told you one of them, actually. William Byron 7 to 1. I'm on it. I did take Tyler Reddick 12 to 1. I am really worried about this race team. this track, for whatever reason, after 2023, they have just fallen off a cliff on top 5 speed. But in case it comes back, 12-1 is worth it to me because they have been very good here in the past. You've got to think they can channel something to get this 45 car in a victory lane. It's insane they haven't won a race this year. It's desperation time. Him and Bubba are both on the outside looking in on points in terms of the playoff hunt. I think this is a must win. I'll tell you right now, I think it's a must win for their drivers this weekend, especially Bubba, because he's not going to point his way in at the Roval. Reddick maybe could, but they haven't exactly been lights out on the road courses themselves. So I think Tyler Reddick, I'm going to take a stab at 12-1. Not a super high risk bet, 0.7 units, maybe 0.8 units. I think even a unit on it is not going to kill you. So I'm on Tyler Reddick outright. Not a top 3, not a top 5. There's a chance they come out here and they suck just like they have at Kansas over the past 3 or 4 times out. So that is what I have, folks. Byron outright, Reddick outright, Buescher, Keselowski, Hocevar, 5 outrights. 2 top 5 bets on Byron, max bet, lock of the universe, and Hocevar. Good value there in my mind. And then 4 top 10 bets on John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, Zane Smith, and Michael McDowell. Now you're probably asking, oh, you're not going to talk about Kyle Larson. I know. I don't blame you if you bet plus 420. How many times have I been betting on Kyle Larson, man? I mean, it seems like every week in the last a month and a half, I'm talking about Larson, and they just don't. There's always somebody, whether it's one driver or one organization, like Penske, that's better than that 5 team. They were good at New Hampshire last week. I feel like right now their best strength is that track type, but we have not raced on an intermediate style track, or in my mind, a relative high-speed racetrack. You could say Darlington, kind of, but really Indianapolis. And that feels like an eternity ago when Larson ran second to Bubba Wallace. So, yeah, Larson plus 420 is in play. Absolutely. I think he's a threat to win the pole. He's obviously a threat to win the race. Won here in the spring last year. Has won here before, prior to that. And in this race last year, we don't even know what he had because he cut a tire down and hit the wall early in the race. So, can't do it right now. We shall see. I'm leaving room on the outrights with all these underdog guys. I'm leaving room for one more heavier outright, whether it's him, Hamlin, somebody else. It's open for post qualifying. We'll see. I don't think we're going to lose a lot of value on Kyle Larson, even if he does qualify well. I think he'll still be plus 350 somewhere before a green flag. So that's what I got. I guess it's time to do some parlays. Don't forget to check out our friends over at advanced.gg. Get your Dale Earnhardt Ice Shaker today. Link in the description here on YouTube. I got the top off. And get you some good advanced.gg product with promo code Dale to get 10% off. Elevate your lifestyle. Delevate your lifestyle. Advanced.gg. Good shit. Let's just put it simple. Now we're going to do some parlays. I got a question from my guy Exit in the Discord. Hey, you going to run some parlays? What are we doing? I never know if I'm actually going to bet any of these parlays because they're not financial advice. Parlays are a trap. But let's just make something and we'll see. We'll start with Xfinity. I talked about Creed, Jones, Mayer, Hill. God, I mean, look how bad the board is, man. It's fucking terrible. But I want guys that run top 5. Sam Mayer, 11 top 5s this year. If he doesn't wreck, he's basically a top 5 guy. Austin Hill, I already said I think they're gonna have a big weekend. Let's do a round robin. Dude, we have made, I'm just saying, I don't remember what happened last week in New Hampshire, but we've made a few of these in the past couple months that have been really close. So for that sake, I'll go the round robin route. I'll go the round robin route here. It's very degenerate. It's not financial advice. But we're going to start with Sam Ayer top 5 and Austin Hill top 5 for Xfinity. Now, Cup. Man, DraftKings top 10s are so fucking bad. But I get it. You know, because you can round robin, no other book lets you do this for NASCAR. There's kind of a big liability here. So I honestly kind of get why they water down their top 10s more than everybody else. And it just occurred to me like last week why they do it. Ryan Preece top 10, that's a lean. So since I'm not betting it straight up, it's probably going to hit. So let's put it in here. Man, I love Nemechek. I think he's 12-1 top 5s on the table for him. Zane Smith, I'm big on. The McDowell price is just criminal for that. I like Eric Jones, but they're just so bad on pit road. Plus 350 is crazy. You know, Alex Bowman. Why don't we go with Bowman, man? He's so good here. He's been top 10 in this race like 86 times in a row. And you're going to give plus money for that? That could be a lock bet. That could be a lock bet. Let's just throw it in here. This is getting pretty degenerate, folks. Let's go top 5. Top 5. You know, one guy I didn't talk about at all, really? Denny Hamlin. He's so good here. I think 5 of the last 7 races, Denny Hamlin in the top 5. Fantastic at Kansas. Let's throw him in something. Let's make sure we include him in some way because he's probably going to be a factor. And we always sleep on him. Hamlin top 5. Oh, host of our top 5. See, 5-1. 5-1 could be worth it. Host of our top 5. He's going to have a big day. Do we want to throw a winner in here? Let's just go Byron top 3. 2-1. Boy, this is super degenerate. We got to add a couple more. This is 9 picks in so far. Remember, we're going to do a round robin. You're going to have to spend your 401k to make it happen, but we're in the lab. We are in the lab, folks. You know what? I talked about front row, man. Front row's been good here. And Noah Gragson has had some of his best runs at these types of racetracks. Gragson's been good here, man. He was really good here at Xfinity. Obviously, different team. No shit. But how much can that translate? He's 6-1 right here on FanDuel or on DraftKings. Fuck it, man. Let's throw him in there. Should we stop at 10? I don't think 10's a lucky number. This is crazy. We got to take another playoff guy. Look at all the non-playoff guys we have. So for the Cup race, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Bowman was a playoff guy. He can stay. 4, 5. We've got 8 Cup picks, and 5 of them are non-playoff guys. So let's throw a playoff guy in there. I'm feeling something juicy. Chastain. He's been pretty fucking good at Kansas. He won here last year. Chastain, their strength has been the 1.5 miles since he's been at Trackhouse in 2022. Since 2022, they need a good run. They're on the outside looking in the points. So, all right, let's make it a round robin. This is gonna be ridiculous. Oh my god, that is massive. Hold on a second. So you're gonna have to put down like $275 if you do $5. That doesn't work. Can you do? Oh, okay. So you can do cents. Okay. And if I bet these in person? Like if I bet a round robin at the casino in person, which I've done before in football, I've done one NASCAR round robin forever ago. I think maybe it was earlier this year, but in person, it's a minimum $5 bet per set of parlays. If you can do this on the app, 50 cents here, 50 cents here, 50 cents here. We're going to do some math. 50 cents here. Here's my analysis here. You're probably like, dude, this is insane. It is. But I'm telling you, I legitimately believe I think we can hit 6 of these. For sure. We can hit 6. I think there's a great possibility we can hit 8 if you get a little bit of luck. Just a little bit of luck. Like one timely caution. One timely caution. Because we're not picking anybody to win, chat. This is top 3s, top 5s, and top 10s. I think for sure we can hit 6 of these. Now, to hit 8 of them, gonna need like a couple lucky moments, right? Maybe a few contenders to get taken out that aren't our guys. To hit 10, fucking impossible. But if you can hit 8, millionaire. Now I gotta figure out how much money this is. Multi-millionaire. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I might play this, but go real low. This is like $1,000, even with 50 cents a parlay here. I might play this. What if you did $1 there? That's like no payout. Okay, we're gonna do some math here. This is an extended episode of Dale Center. Let's do some math. $1. So we know that's $55, right? 50 cents. That's $82. Oh, it's so many. 330 legs. Let's go 20 cents. .2 times 330. Now you're up to $203. Okay. Dude, 462. Let's go 10 cents. We got to go. Let's go 10 cents the rest of these. What is... You know what? What did we say? The target is 8. So forget the 9 and the 10. It ain't happening. If it did, that'd be pretty sweet though. So now we're at 203 plus 0.1 times 462 plus 0.1 times 462 plus 0.1 times 330 plus 0.1 times 165. That's $345 to win 400 grand. Oh no, like 500, like 550, 550K, $500,000 if you hit all of them. I mean, based on this, if you hit 7 of them, you're winning. If you hit 6 of them, I think you're winning. And I think we can easily hit 6. Chad, this is not financial advice, but I'll be honest with you. I might just cut this and play it because I actually think we can hit 6 of these. That's so crazy, dude. We could, if we hit, chat, if we by the grace of God hit 9 of these, we might actually eliminate the round robin availability for NASCAR for eternity on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's what RotoDoc and Jordan did with 2022. Everybody wrecked at Daytona in the rain. They round robin parlayed like 7 guys like BJ McLeod, Cody Ware, Noah Greggs, like all sorts of underdogs, and turned one guy into a millionaire. And now you can't do it anymore on FanDuel. We could fuck the whole thing up. Now with these small, I mean, these bet amounts are so small, you really need 5 or 6. Because I think this math adds up to maybe putting down like $200. I mean, here you might as well do $1 because that payout is so small. Once again, this is not financial. This is not financial advice, but with these small amounts, if you can bet these minimums on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, man, I might play it. I might play this. Am I crazy? Tell me in the comments. Am I fucking insane? Sam Mayer top 5, Austin Hill top 5, Ryan Preece top 10, John Hunter Nemechek top 10, Zane Smith top 10, Alex Bowman top 10, Denny Hamlin top 5, Carson Hocevar top 5, William Byron top 3, Noah Gragson top 10, and Ross Chastain top 10. My God, what is that? 3 million to 1, 3.5 million to 1. I don't even know how. What is the word for that? Plus 363066724. 36,000 to 1. Yeah, I know. I've lost my mind that I'm even thinking about playing this. But now, if it hits and I don't play it, oh my God. If we hit 8 and I don't play it, and I think, dude, I'm telling you, this is fucking possible. This is possible. I think we should try it. I think we should try it. We're gonna need one big moment to take out some of these playoff guys. See, like, this is why my mind is going this way. Look at all these playoff guys. You have 8 guys minus 200 or better for a top 10. Chase Briscoe has not been amazing at the mile and a half. He's had some good runs. Chase Elliott has not been amazing at the mile and a half. Tyler Reddick, we talked about him. They have really struggled at Kansas in 2311. Christopher Bell, their strength has not been the mile and a half. Their strength has been kind of the shorter tracks, flatter tracks. Ryan Blaney's, he's already won. Like, what are they going to do? You know, they're probably going to resort back to their typical Blaney fashion, making a mistake, getting wrecked, blah, blah, blah. They're locked into the next round. Who cares? They're worried about Phoenix. William Byron, we're on him. We're on Denny Hamlin. And Kyle Larson minus 500 for a top 10 is fucking crazy. So I just feel like the probabilities of these top 10s, the way they're inflated for these playoff guys, is not like mega realistic for them to all finish in the top 10. There's a lot of guys here that have been really good at these, at similar track types. Nemechek especially, Bowman, Chastain, Zane Smith. Gregson's kind of a flyer. Priest always pops up. This is realistic. I'm telling you guys, this is realistic to hit 8 of these. Not financial advice. I'm just lumping in all the bets that I really like, all the guys that I really like heading into the weekend. Just putting them all together, folks. That's what I got. I hope you enjoyed that. It kind of got my blood flowing a little bit, making a really ridiculous parlay. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I think I'm going to play this for a small amount. I think I'm going to play it similar to this. And if you hit all 11, you're going to win somewhere around 500K. There you have it. All right, I didn't think we'd go this long, but that was a fun little parlay segment to get nice. To get nice and degenerate on a Friday afternoon. Thank you guys for watching. If it helped you win some money, please like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe to Dub Club if you want to see all the bets with specific unit allocations. We're 104 units in the green in 2025. It's been a fantastic year. It really has, especially with Xfinity. Xfinity has been the moneymaker overall. So thanks to everybody who does subscribe. And if you want to see all the bets with specific unit allocations, any post-qualifying ads, click that link in the description. Make sure to check out our friends at Advance. Get you some good Advance.gg products. Elevate your lifestyle. Dale-evate your lifestyle. And at Dale Tanhart on social media. I will be doing a watch party on Sunday for sure over on kick.com/Dale Tanhart. That link is below as well. We'll sweat all our bets out. We'll sweat that round robin out as well. So, yeah. Looking forward to the weekend. Hope we get some good races, and I hope we win some money. So, be sure to check all that out. And you guys enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all on Sunday.